You're going too close to my face all the time. Alright. I think what I'm going to talk about today is, I'd say emotional fatigue. Seeing as how I did like a 3-hour live stream last night, and I'm pretty set on the fact. Oh yeah, that's right. Today's live stream is not brought to you by Gatorade, Lemon Lime, and also Crave beef jerky, because I wanted beef jerky and I realized that it was good in protein and I needed something to drink it down that had some sort of sugar and or salt in it, and it was delicious. I also have a cup of water. Today's live stream is brought to you by Cup of Water. If you like water, put it in a cup and drink it with some ice. Yeah, there you go. I understand sometimes that the fatigue can cause reactionary emotions, but in other cases it causes like a reactionary just malaise, or I guess a fake jadedness, I guess. So to not care about the outcome of certain situations, or care about the certain things. You want to do something like sleep, or just go home, or realize that, like, and fatigue can come on at any time. Emotional fatigue is like one of the biggest what's the word, culprits of emotional fatigue is like one of the biggest culprits of like if you're doing something, say you're like, and then you have like sort of an emotional it's not really a glitch. It's more like you're just not focusing on the same task at the same time. It can cause like you to stop stop realizing your goals, and once that happens, you start to just for 1 second take your eyes off of it, or 1 second take your eyes away from something, and it starts to I guess not go to shit, but you could drop something, and if you're messing with stuff that's fragile, then you could probably realize that your dream of breaking that fragile thing, unfortunately it's not really a dream, it's more like a nightmare. But when you're realizing that that you're emotionally fatigued, or that you felt the same emotion for so long, and you just wanna feel or be somewhere else, sometimes realizing that happens a lot with people who are in the public eye, and it also happens a lot with people who aren't in the public eye and want to be in the public eye, or people who actually. Alright, we're gonna see if we can knock over ammunition. There we go, there's an ammunition. Bitch ass bullshit. My car! Don't hit me! First we're gonna see if we can.
Man, you a genetic experiment going wrong, dog. I knew you was punk.
Got him. Alright, there is the chair, and...
Citizens report assault with a deadly weapon on,
there we go.
Morningwood Boulevard.
Okay, ammunition is closed. We gotta come back later. Making sure that you realize that you should be able to cycle through what you would say your reactionary emotions are, to be able to control certain emotional fatigue. Be able to kind of go through what you feel or how you feel it, and or how you feel something, or even acknowledge certain things, like as far as an elephant in the room or an elephant in your own emotions. There are certain acknowledgments that you have to give to certain situations, and that's it's good to be able to see through the fact that it's good to be able to see through, you son of a bitch. It's good to be able to see through what makes your emotions or what makes your thoughts go vroom and go time, you know, get really revved up about something, and then you realize you have to hurry up and wait. Bo, quit chewing on the rope on my leg. It's weird. Quit. Go in. Go lay down. I'm not a bone. You need to go. Go lay down. Quit thinking of me like that. It's weird. Move, Bo. He keeps thinking that I'm a bone to be chewed later on when I die. But understandably speaking, that he's gonna realize that eventually his lifespan is shorter than mine. Understandably so, there are certain ways to actually help your dog and help things like that. I'm not saying that but animals. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good way too. I mean, feeling fatigue can also kind of bring you back to certain truths, and whether or not you kind of not lie to yourself, but I'm eating beef jerky, so well, hide I'd say true emotion from yourself. I'm not saying that the dog is like a terrible person for wanting to like lick my leg, but that's the reactionary emotion that he has from licking bones and certain other things like that. So he feels a nudge or a thing. So eventually, after I've sat down or I've lost my life or something like that, or I've done that, if I ever do lose my life, if I was ever my bones were ever to be sat down next to a dog, he would probably chew them. But in that same sense, it's not like I care after I'm dead whether or not he chews them. But the point is if I feel it in the next world, that would suck. And but also too, I don't really believe in death. So there's another one, yay!
Oh, sweet Jesus!
But understanding that fatigue can bring about certain instances of reflex, like as I was taught when I was younger, and this is the reason why I don't believe in death or any kind of things like that, because of the way that people don't understand what even death is, or what they're saying when they say death. They don't know what they're saying. Like, they have no idea what they're saying. I mean, it's transfer of energy from one vessel to another. So while you lose from this reality or this planet itself from another time-space continuum, realize that there is also another time-space continuum that we always go to, and also our energy expands. So 9 powers aren't that far off. but of what people could actually probably do given the chance if they were able to concentrate and change the brain chemistry, change their brain chemistry over time, just like sometimes people do in certain traumas or certain things like that. But that would mean that people would have to consciously change their own chemistry of their brain to be able to constitute like an understandable change in variations of synapses to be able to pick up objects with just simple thought. But also too, what they would be thinking about when they had their hand in the air, I guess, would probably be just a physical cue for a mental it's like, so that wouldn't even freaking matter. Like, basically, we wouldn't even, like if you really thought about it, surrounding your ions around something else would actually make you weaker. Or could even cause bruises. Because after you surrounded it something with your, I'd say, your own something, or tried to pick something up with something else, realized that eventually, like, you could inadvertently hurt yourself after if you think about something else too quickly. That would be like but also in the same sense, fatigue can kind of do that as well. People don't understand that sometimes people get bruises from just walking around, and it's not because they're old or decrepit or anything like that. Sometimes it's because they can literally make reflexes inside their own body that give them bruises, and it's happened before, and that's in itself a kind of son of a bitch. Time to drink some water, eat some jerky. Yum, 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 yum. Oh. But understanding exactly where you come from can give you great insight into what your fatigue is all about. Exactly where you're coming from. Exactly where your fatigue is coming from. Emotional fatigue as well as physical fatigue cannot just be thwarted, but can literally be distanced from your brain, and that's really spicy because it's sweet chipotle. It came up on me. But the lemon lime Gatorade actually helps neutralize the flavor, but it's still really good. Also understanding where you stand on a certain situation, it actually can tell you what your certain brain patterns are doing, or are they going haywire, or are they are you thinking clearly, or or are you thinking over obtuse, or are you trying to overcompensate for something? Say for instance, like someone asks you a question like, what day is it, or what time is it, or something like that, or when's the last time you looked at a clock, sort of thing. It's like, it's not just a gauge to whether or not you're coherent and logical. It's more of a gauge as well to see if you're obsessive. Because the more you try to say, you try to see back inside your own head, and also realize your reaction time. If your reaction time is too quick, sometimes people will actually assume that you are in stress mode or in fatigue. It's not a bad thing, and it's not a terrible thing to actually be, but it's a thing to initiate the fact that you've been giving yourself too little credit when it comes to or too much credit when it comes to mental fatuity. But too little credit into being able to thwart it, or to be able to stop it whenever it actually hits or becomes apparent in your own life. I'm gonna run back because I need to get this van.
I repeat, on foot.
And
Roger.
Nobody needs to get hurt, alright?
alright.
Sorry about that.
Officers report a criminal resisting arrest on Great Ocean Highway. Suspect left in a white RV.
Got him.
Oh, yes. Where's your cover? You got me. Give it up. I'll kill you.
Dispatch, we have the suspect in sight.
Go to hell. Stop or I will blow your brains out. Good to go. Cover me. You get the shit.
Huh?
Fuck your shit.
No, I got Crave and Gatorade because it was very delicious. But I got these. You want one? They're sweet chipotle. They're it's beef jerky. I mean, I thought you'd recognize the packaging. It's beef jerky.
Yeah, you know how much I like this stuff.
Of course, I know. I've understood that you have had a huh?
Dog snacks?
They're not dog snacks. They're good. They're also good for your teeth sometimes too.
I'm hoping the Pounder will kill Liberty City Rats in that game tonight so I can manage my pent-up aggression.
Also, it's got a lot of protein in it, so it's good for your immune system. Yum yum yum. Sneaker punks. All right, what we're gonna do since we died the first time. Now run to that bus stop first, just for good measure. And got it. Son of a bitch. What is that thing? Oh, you seriousness. Okay. Well, it's probably the reason why I probably shouldn't be playing this game right now.
Joe doesn't notice when you go out.
I took him out like 20 minutes ago. Not even.
What he leaps like a fucking gazelle.
Yeah, that's what he does. He's an Australian Shepherd. He leaps in junk, and he leaps at wolves and stuff like that. He probably can take out a wolf eventually in his full-grown form.
How's it going? What's up,
Huh? He doesn't leap on sheep. He leaps on wolves. Like they're used to taking out wolves, and also the cat went outside. So But yeah. Just gonna do a friggin', and I like that song because it's being funny time ha.
Take a look around, young buck.
So you real mean, huh? I don't care. Stop, or I deport you. Come here! I'm sorry. You happy now?
We have a civilian requiring assistance on Great Ocean Highway in
Got it.
Lato Bay.
$99. And I don't want to make any puns. Alright.
William 2, we're kind of nearby.
And so yeah,
Can't you hear me coming?
let's take this to the next level and go Alright, let's see if we can drive faster than 2 miles an hour. Miles an hour is probably not a great thing. Thinking about it, blah 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 blah. And yes, I am passing the time by singing an overworked song. I think that it's very good, and it's very good to have aspirations and dreams, but also I don't get the whole God thing. So, but in the same sense,
Screw this.
or dying for God for any reason, shape, or form. I'm not just just don't understand. No comply, you know, sort of thing. It's just a really nice tune. And if they would have said something else, I probably would have been actually like, oh, hey, cool, that sounds good. You're doing something else besides talking about religion. And love, or something like that. I don't know. Love is good. It's not a trivial matter to talk about love, and I guess when I'm fatigued, I mean from this game as well as talking about stuff, I'm not exactly like the best person, I guess, sometimes, but in the same sense, I guess that can have a huge effect on your emotions towards someone else. And I guess if you don't understand that, if you don't love that person fully or truly, then your emotions can sometimes show through to people. Or not to say that if you don't love that person fully or truly, but if you don't realize your love for that person involves you not getting mad or angry, I guess with everyday occurrences, or not even with everyday occurrences, with things that happen like not on the regular, but in the same sense, it's like it's the same way. It's I could say that I have problems when it comes to my love life, but I also could say that I just haven't met the right person. And I just haven't met the right woman. And I'm saying that right person because it could be any woman for me. And I find out that sometimes, or I haven't opened myself up to the right person, or the right woman. I'm gonna rob this store.
Looks good.
Dang it, you can't rob it?
Welcome.
$91, yeah. Now we're going to ammunition. See if we can find some places.
You gotta watch out, fool. Come on, move.
But yeah, through fatigue and trying to be able to figure out what you're really about and how you're really about something, you can find out sometimes your true feelings, or even just what you would say is what some people would describe as a reflex. But even though that those reflexes mean a lot sometimes, realize that whenever you're giving the chance to someone else to be a part of your life, or be a part of yourself, or even a partner to be part of yourself, or a part of what you're doing, realize that behavior in itself that is not positive is detrimental to the way you think and the way you're able to make decisions in your life. And I'm gonna keep going because
Dispatch, we have a suspect and a call.
cuffs. can't get me.
Roger that.
Because I'm amazing. And no, I'm not exactly trying to pull off, I guess, a look or a thing. I just sometimes I'm inspired by different people, and sometimes I talk like other different people, I guess. In the same sense, though, I'm not really like trying to. I'm not trying to actually be like them, you know. I'm just trying to see, I guess, the way that they look at life
Suspect doing 80 miles per hour.
the expression of, I don't know, you can shoot me straight in the gosh darn head. Oh, how much did they take from my money? Or my money that I stole? There. It's important to be able to get your protein from different areas and different places, or you'd be able to get your vitamins from different areas and different places, because you never know when, I'd say, you want all your receptors and all your vitamin receptors to be at top notch. So you don't just want a certain solid or a certain liquid to be your form of vitamins. I've seen it happen time and time again, where sometimes people change a certain thing about themselves, and then they change everything about themselves in that fact. Sometimes.
Give me that thing right now.
I'm gonna drink this water. Damn, that's delicious. Son of a bitch. We're gonna barter. Alright. Let's go out here. Alright. Like hitting people when they're right. When they're. Oh. I got $15. It's gonna be amazing. I got $1,000. It's gonna be so cool. I wish I had a boat on this. That's all I guess what I'm trying to say is, let's change things up, the scenery, and also that's a good way to actually help with fatigue and emotional fatigue in itself. Changing up your scenery, doing something spontaneous, or doing something fun, or something you wouldn't normally do.
Citizens reporting assault with a deadly weapon on Great Ocean Highway.
Like instead of like just constantly being on land, you could go to a beach and have fun. Granted, every single time I try to do something with a significant other, and that's just probably the reason why it never really worked out with us, is we'd always pick the most terrible time.
On the target.
Because of our lack of planning itself, we would constantly pick the wrong thing because we wouldn't communicate with each other. Like, there was an instance where her daughter almost got attacked by a snapping turtle. Or what I thought was a snapping turtle, but is a turtle. And it could have snapped at her, but it just swam around her for some reason.
Units reporting.
Also too, I was like, okay, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. I wasn't saying it the whole time, but I was like, stay calm, and she was just floating around, and the turtle was going underneath her, just like that. But if it wasn't raining, then the turtle wouldn't have been out, obviously. So I was kind of the same thing that we just never planned. We always just went with the whimsy, or went with something. We never prepared ourselves to be able to make something spontaneous fun. You know? And I think that's also the reasons why we just never communicated with each other, and we never had each other's backs in certain situations. And I'd say that if there was a robber and he wanted to hurt me in some way, shape, or form, then I think she might have been down for it, and she might have watched and laughed. But that's not here nor there. I kind of left that relationship a long time ago. but understandably so. I think what I'm doing is trying to sum up all of my relationships in
Getting
one.
on the freeway.
But understandably so, I'm not actually saying that. I'm saying that that's my worst relationship probably, and my longest worst relationship. But also too, there have been other relationships that have actually spoken to me sometimes. And like I don't have to actually just have horrible experiences when it comes to women. I actually had fun experiences. Except sometimes I actually realized that I was either emotionally hurt, or they were emotionally hurt, and they weren't ready for a relationship, or I wasn't ready for a relationship with them. I'm not saying that there are instances where my emotional fatigue would get in the way, but I'm also saying, what? Oh, cool. Thank you. But I'm also saying that that emotional fatigue had something to do with it, and it had a lot to do with me not giving myself enough credit whenever I was in a romantic relationship with someone else. Me not being able to be confident sometimes whenever from an initial visit, an initial meeting to whenever I actually tried to get with them, or tried to say how I felt about them, and or even through to any sort of, alright, so we're gonna go, we got 3,
Citizens report 505 on,
there we go.
All officer, suspect is on foot.
Son of a bitch, I didn't know I was in that little health. So, I think this is gonna be a short episode, but realize that emotional fatigue can get to you, no matter what it is, no matter how it is, and emotional fatigue can make you sometimes break relationships that you wouldn't normally want to break, but realize that eventually, if you get there, or if you know something, or if you know something about yourself better that day, or anything, realize that a woman that wants you will want you no matter if you're the strongest guy in the world or the most flabbiest dude in the world. Realize that eventually she's gonna want you to be seen with you, whether or not you're embarrassing or not embarrassing. And also understand that if you're real to yourself, and if you're real to the way you want things, then you'll always be able to realize that yeah, my emotional fatigue actually made me cheat on a girl once, and
Hey, Shar.
and it was only because I didn't get an answer when I told her that I loved her.
No, sorry. I can't come out this
And
weekend.
instead of saying that, you know what, I don't feel that way right now, but I could. It was yeah, I'm gonna eat it. I'm gonna eat it. I'm just finishing up kind of. So that's basically another experience that I had, but it was my fault because it was my fault in a way, but it was also too, in the same sense, she was never invested fully in the relationship in the first place, because she would constantly just throw herself at me, and I think that the point is she thought that I was going somewhere in my life, and that's probably the reasons why she just fell head over heels as I was doing something that was probably a little bit pertaining to having something in life. But also too, in the same sense, it wasn't really shallow for me or her to be doing the same things, or even do different things. It's just I kind of felt that I was going through something, and if she didn't want to be there for that, or if she didn't want to be there for any of it, then or if she didn't want to be there at all, then obviously it's not the way that I actually saw it, or the way that I actually noticed it. And I'm happy for her either way, but in the same sense, I could have known, beforehand, and she could have told me, and I wouldn't have put in as much effort into it. But I guess sometimes women want to see men frustrated, so because they didn't get to vote for so long. But in the same sense, this is a new generation, and we're not trying to live the mistakes that we made in the past. So, or that anyone made in the past. Realize that there are so many different avenues to be able to make new decisions and new arrivals to different decisions. That emotional fatigue may be the thing of the past, and the more that people actually look inside themselves and be able to realize that they're better off without or with someone or with themselves as a companion instead of someone else. Realize that critical thinking and being able to see the situations for what it is, for what they are, but also in the same sense realizing that's neither a positive nor a negative thing. I think that's the most confident thing that I could ever even possibly, or the most attractive thing about a woman that I could ever even possibly imagine. A woman that uses critical thinking to be able to make ends or break a relationship, but in the same sense realizes that, or even just realizes that I'm for her and she's for me. But I want her to be able to think for herself, and I want her to be able to support me in certain situations, and I want so many things that I'll probably have to wait for instead of just constantly going out and getting drunk or doing something fun or saying something cool to a woman, and she's like, "Oh, I think you're interesting, blah 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 blah." It's like, yeah, you think I'm interesting, but you don't know me as a person. And if I was probably in a different setting, like i.e. a group or maybe even just a weekly gathering or something like that, then you'd probably know more. But if you didn't want to know more, if you wanted to know more, you'd probably be in one of those settings instead of, oh, I'm gonna meet you and then fantasize about you constantly, but not actually have sex with you, but or even understand or trust you because I've been hurt before. And yeah, that's emotional fatigue, and it's forms of things we block ourselves into certain relationships or certain places without relationships that and I realize that in some cases people try to say that they've come to a new wait, oh yes, crack my neck. They've come to certain realizations, or they come to certain things, and they've come to certain things in their life or paths in their life, and they're like, oh, I'm a changed person. It's like, yes, but realize that change happens every single day, and if you weren't realizing that change was happening, then you weren't becoming any better of a person than you already are, or than you already will be, ever. And no matter what, if you think that the change happens overnight, or if you think that the change happens over a certain amount of time, and oh, you've put your demons or blah 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 or something like that. It's like, no, you put your demons in a cabinet and you let them gain value, and if you sell them to anyone, then no one will ever be liking you the way that they like you now. But understand that those demons are something that you have to deal with, and they never gain value or any sort of thing. The more you try to push on a certain value of what you consider to be your emotional fatigue, the more you consider it to be your emotional fatigue, the more you realize that you need to treat yourself and everyone else differently. And I think you need to give yourself and everyone else more credit when it comes to certain things. But also too, in the same sense, I guess sometimes women have been my downfall, or and that's the reason of my joke when I say boobs and butts and stuff like that. It's not really a joke, but it's more like I'm making fun of the fact that I put so much importance on it. I used to put so much importance on exactly how much I wanted the physical instead of over the mental. But also too, in the same sense, I wanted both. It's just I wasn't getting one from one, so I would go to another to see if she had that. And I try to look at every single relationship that I've ever been in with an open mind at first, but as soon as they start to exhibit sort of features that make me feel like I'm second rate, or they didn't get me because they wanted somebody else, or they got me because they wanted somebody else. But in the same sense, if that person was available, then I'd be just chopped liver. I wouldn't want a woman to be able to be in that fantasy world and then still be, in the same sense, trying to be with me, because I'd want them to actually go for that, or go for a certain person like that has both the brains and the brawn to be able to make themselves look and feel the way they want to, and the way that woman wants them to as well. And also, I would imagine that in some cases, that woman would be in some ways, I'd say, motivated to be able to help herself in certain situations, to push herself to be able to be on that caliber of person, or whatever caliber of person she would be on. So, and I'm not doing anything, so I'm gonna go explode something. It's gonna be fun. And I have a waffle waiting for me, so I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna quit this because. Alright, so this has been Game Therapy, and I think this is actually a pretty eye-opening emotional fatigue. Emotional fatigue is actually a pretty in-depth thing, and I'm probably going to talk about it next episode. So thank you for listening, and if you ever do listen, thank you. But if you're not right now, because I know you're not, because there's 0 viewers, realize that not only do people, when you listen, or when you understand things, when you listen, your world can open up. And I listened, and that's why I'm talking at all, because I listened to everything. But I'm not saying that I listened to absolutely everything, but I listened to everything that could make me better, and I try every single day
Hey, Matt,
to push
this is Lisa.
to be able to make myself better. So thank you for listening. This has been Game Therapy with Joe Bomb Squad, and you all still owe me that $500, all 0 of you, and I will expect payment by email or gift card. It's not a scam. I'm not in India or any other country that does that, because they could all be faking their Indian accents to actually do that stuff, and it's racist. You know, it's so racist. But also, yeah, they really could be all just faking Indian accents and going to, like, oh, United States phone number. You know, I'm gonna forward my phone through this number so I can actually go and talk to people in the United States without actually getting charges or anything. So there's that. But have a good day, and don't get fatigued. And if you do, then give yourself a pat on the back, because you deserve it. Or eat some food, or just eat something, or do something that involves a positive reinforcement for yourself. Game Therapy. Sorry.